The black screen lingers, holding the audience in unbearable silence. Then, like a strike to the heart, a violin pierces the quiet, soft, fragile, yet trembling with power. Slowly, the mist rolls back across the screen, revealing a battlefield littered with smoke and fire. Figures stumble through the haze, but the camera ignores them, instead drawing closer to one man on his knees. Jamie Fraser. His shoulders shake, his breath ragged. His sword has fallen to the mud. For the first time, he does not look like the unbreakable warrior. He looks like a father who dares to believe in something impossible. The silence is broken by footsteps. Bare feet, light on the wet ground, echo as though time itself amplifies each step. The camera never rises higher than the ankles at first. Just pale skin, dirt clinging to the toes. Then the hem of a simple dress, torn as if from another century. The steps stop in front of Jamie. He lifts his head, his tear-filled eyes catching a glimpse of what stands before him. His lips part, and in a voice cracked with pain and hope, he whispers, "Mo Kriya." Faith? The music swells, bagpipes now layered with a deep choir. The camera cuts to Claire, her hands trembling as she pushes through the smoke. She sees the figure before Jamie and stumbles, clutching her chest as if the sight has stolen the air from her lungs. She breathes one word, broken but filled with longing. Faith. For the first time, the silhouette girl's face begins to come into focus. But just before her features are revealed, the screen flashes white. In that instant, rapid images slam across the screen like lightning. Faith's small infant hand, Claire screaming in labor years ago, Jamie burying his face in grief, Brianna's wide eyes staring at the impossible. The flashes end with a single, lingering shot, Faith's eyes opening in the mist. They are unmistakably familiar, a mirror of Claire's gaze, filled with sorrow and fire. The screen holds that image for a heartbeat, long enough for the audience to gasp, but not long enough to fully accept it. The words crash onto the screen in bold, burning letters, darkness. Absolute. The screen is void, yet it feels alive, breathing, waiting. Then, from somewhere distant, a single note of a lullaby drifts in. It is soft, delicate, almost comforting. But the longer it plays, the more it begins to feel wrong, twisted by echoes and distortions, like a memory warped by time. The screen flickers faintly. A candle flame appears in the darkness, trembling as though it fears to stay lit. The flame grows larger, and as it does, faint images shimmer in and out of existence around it. Claire holding a baby, Jamie smiling, Brianna laughing with her children. Each image glows for a heartbeat before burning away into smoke, as if time itself is consuming them. The candle flame wavers violently, then extinguishes. Darkness again, and then her voice, Faith's voice, soft, childlike, yet carrying an eerie calm that chills the blood. "Did you miss me, Mama?" The words stretch into the silence, their sweetness at odds with their haunting weight. The music underlines her voice now, bagpipes blending with strings in a lullaby that sounds both tender and ghostly. The black screen cracks open with one final visual. The standing stones, glowing fiercely in the moonlight. The mist swirls violently, as if trying to tear the veil of time apart once more. The camera rushes forward, pulled into the stone's light, faster and faster, until the screen is consumed in blinding white. For a breathless second, there is only white noise. Then, black again. The silence lingers like a shadow long enough to make the audience shift in their seats. Then, almost too faint to notice, the sound of a heartbeat returns. Slow, heavy. Each thud rattles through the black screen like a warning. The mist creeps back in for one final image. Through the haze, the silhouette of Faith appears once more. This time, she is standing alone at the edge of the stones, the moonlight bathing her in silver. Her hair lifts slightly in the wind, her dress whispering against the ground. She tilts her head, as if listening to something the audience cannot hear. The sound of her soft breathing fills the silence. Claire's voice breaks through, fragile and desperate. "Faith, if it's truly you, come back to me." The camera does not move. It holds on the figure in the mist, letting the tension crawl higher. Faith slowly raises her hand, reaching toward the light of the stones. Jamie's voice cuts across, raw and filled with grief. Some things are not meant to be tampered with. His words echo, shaking with both fear and hope. The heartbeat grows faster, louder. And then, Faith speaks. Clear, calm, and chillingly serene. I was never gone. The screen explodes into light, faster and brighter than before. Rapid-fire images slam across the screen. The ridge burning, Claire running toward the stones, Brianna screaming, Roger fighting through the forest, Jamie crying out in the rain. The music surges, thunder and bagpipes colliding until it feels unbearable. Suddenly, everything stops. Stillness, darkness. A single line of text fades in. The screen is black. A soft wind blows, carrying faint whispers of voices we once knew. The sound of a baby crying fades into thunder. Then silence. Suddenly bold white words appear. The story isn't over. The cry echoes one last time, leaving the audience unsettled and curious. A deep voice speaks in the darkness. Some bonds can never be broken. Not even by death. Not even by time. The air is heavy, charged with mystery, pulling the audience into the whirl. The trailer begins in pure darkness. No faces, no characters, just sound. At first it's a gentle lullaby, faint and haunting, almost like a memory trying to be remembered. The lullaby is broken by the sound of a storm rolling in, lightning cutting through the black screen. Then softly the cry of a newborn rises, almost too quiet to notice at first, but it grows, echoing through the silence. The cries merge with whispers from Claire's past, her voice trembling as she once mourned, Jamie's broken tone when he said goodbye. The sound layers together until it becomes overwhelming, and then everything stops. On the screen, glowing white letters fade in. The past never truly lets go. A heartbeat thunders, slow, strong, then another. The screen begins to glow faintly, showing the blurred outline of standing stones in mist. The camera lingers on the stones as the narrator speaks. The story of the Frasers is written in blood, in love, and in time. But some stories refuse to end. The mist thickens, wrapping around the stones. The faint silhouette of a woman, barefoot, begins to walk through the haze. Her figure is only a shadow, her face hidden. The camera never shows her fully, but the way she moves feels eerily familiar. A cold voice cuts through. Faith! The name is whispered, almost broken, like someone saying it for the first time in years. A flash of lightning strikes, illuminating the stones, and in that split second, the screen flickers with images. Claire holding an infant, Jamie burying his face in grief, Brianna looking fearful. Each flash is quick, like memories clawing their way back into the present. The narrator's voice lowers, carrying both weight and warning. What if death was not the end? What if time itself made a cruel bargain? The cry of the infant returns, but this time it blends into the voice of a young woman whispering, Mama? The sound is chilling yet tender. Claire's voice gasps in shock, though we never see her. The first section ends with a final slam of text across the screen. Outlander Season 8. Faith returns. The screen cuts to black, leaving the audience breathless, desperate for what comes next. Of Outlander once again. The screen stays black for a moment after the chilling hook, letting silence hang like a weight. Then, with a sudden strike of drums, light bursts onto the screen in a rapid montage. This is not a gentle recap. It is sharp, urgent, and meant to remind viewers of every cost that has already been paid. First, a sweeping shot of Fraser's Ridge under a gray sky. The wind-bending trees, as if even nature senses something coming. Then, the camera cuts fast. Jamie on the battlefield, mud and blood smeared across his face, his eyes blazing with the fury of survival. Claire in the midst of chaos, her hands red as she tries to save a man's life, while cannon fire shakes the ground around her. Roger holding Brianna's hand tightly as their children look on, fear reflecting in their young eyes. Each moment slams onto the screen with the sound of a heartbeat, faster and faster. Text fades in between the flashes. Love was tested, then war was endured, then time was broken. The screen flickers with a vision of the standing stones, humming with unseen energy. The sound design shifts here. The faint hum of electricity grows louder, like time itself is groaning under strain. For a brief moment we see Claire standing before the stones, her hair wild in the wind, whispering as if to herself, "I swore I'd never go back." Her voice cracks, not with fear, but with sorrow. The montage dives deeper. Brianna cradling her child, her eyes darting toward the horizon as musket fire cracks in the distance. Roger running, his breath ragged, carrying something or someone through the woods. Jamie's voice cuts in, fierce and protective. "They'll take everything if we don't fight back." His words echo over the sound of swords clashing and muskets firing. And then the pace slows. A lingering, painful image of Jamie kneeling in the rain, his face tilted upward, his lips trembling as if whispering a prayer. The screen blurs, shifting into a vision of Claire holding a tiny bundle years ago, tears on her cheeks. The sound of that same infant cry from Section 1 returns, but distorted, warped, almost like an echo out of time. The narrator's voice breaks the silence once again, low and heavy. They believed they had lost her forever, but time remembers what love cannot forget. The music swells, mixing bagpipes with orchestral drums, shaking the screen as one final message bursts across it. War rages on, but the past has not finished with them. The montage cuts to black, leaving only the sound of that warped cry fading into the mist. The screen fades in slowly from black. At first, there is nothing but mist curling across the ground, the kind that hides secrets and swallows the world whole. The camera glides forward through the haze, each step accompanied by the distant echo of a heartbeat. The stones appear again, towering and ancient. But this time they glow faintly, their surfaces alive with cracks of light as if time itself is bleeding through them. A sudden gust of wind sweeps across, carrying whispers. The words are impossible to understand at first, fragments of voices from different eras tangled together. But one name begins to rise above the noise, repeating like a haunting chant. "Faith, Faith, Faith." The screen cuts sharply to Claire. Her face is pale, her lips trembling, her eyes wide as if she has seen a ghost. We never hear her fully, only a whisper torn from her mouth. "It can't be. Faith?" Her voice cracks like glass, filled with hope and dread at once. Jamie's figure is next. He stands frozen, shoulders heavy, his sword limp in his hand. The world around him seems to fall silent. His face tightens, torn between disbelief and longing, as though the very air has betrayed him by speaking the name of a child they buried long ago. The music swells, soft at first, almost like a hymn. Then, without warning, a silhouette steps into frame, bare feet on damp soil. The camera stays low, never showing her face. She moves slowly, each step deliberate, the mist wrapping around her like a shroud. Her presence feels both fragile and unearthly, as though she is both part of this world and something beyond it. Roger's voice cuts through, sharp and fearful. "If this is real, if Faith has returned, then what else has time kept hidden from us?" Brianna's voice overlaps his, breaking with urgency. "This changes everything." Her words hang in the air, shaking like a prophecy. Claire is shown again, her hands trembling as she reaches into the mist, but she pulls back at the last moment, terrified of what her fingers might touch. The narrator's voice rises now, deep and commanding. When the veil of time shatters, the impossible returns. The screen explodes into flashes, soldiers raising muskets, fire consuming the ridge, Claire screaming, Jamie drawing his sword. Amid the chaos, the silhouette girl turns her head slowly toward the camera, but the mist clings to her, never letting us see her face. Only her eyes flash for the briefest second. Eyes that look hauntingly familiar, almost like Claire's. The section closes with silence, only the sound of one word whispered faintly in the mist. "Mama?" The silence doesn't last. A single drum beat shatters it, followed by the clash of steel. The screen erupts with chaos. Muskets firing, flames sweeping across Fraser's Ridge, soldiers storming through smoke. The rhythm of battle becomes the rhythm of the trailer, every sound sharp and unforgiving. Jamie bursts into frame, sword in hand, cutting through enemies with the ferocity of a man who has everything to lose. His face is grim, his voice filled with rage as he roars, "They will not take what is ours." His words echo as musket fire drowns out his voice, blending into the scream of battle. The camera cuts to Claire, her hair tangled, her hands shaking as she works over a wounded man, her voice breaking with desperation. "You don't understand. This isn't how it was meant to be." She shoves bloodied rags aside, her eyes darting toward the mist outside the tent, as if the war isn't only being fought on the battlefield but in time itself. Roger appears next, running through the woods, branches tearing at his face. He carries something close to his chest, hidden under his coat. His voice rises, panicked. "If she's truly here, then the future isn't safe. None of us are safe." His words cut off as the sound of gunfire chases him deeper into the shadows. Brianna holds her children tightly, her face pale but fierce. Her voice trembles, but her eyes burn with resolve. If Faith has returned, then nothing we thought we knew is true anymore. She pulls her children close as the roar of cannon fire shakes the ground. The music grows darker, heavier, weaving bagpipes with pounding drums. Quick flashes tear across the screen. A musket firing at point-blank range. Jamie shielding Claire with his body. Roger collapsing against a tree. Brianna standing in the doorway of a burning cabin, her silhouette glowing in the firelight. And then, quiet. The chaos stops. The screen fades back into the mist. The silhouette girl stands alone, her hair lifted by an unseen wind. Slowly, she turns toward the camera, the mist curling around her face. Still, her features remain hidden, but her presence is undeniable. She whispers one word, soft but piercing through the silence. "Papa."